Well, everybody, welcome to Hawaii Recalls. Here we are again, talking story. It's a couple of OGs.
I don't know. You just got to recall whatever you can recall.
I'm Brickwood, Galuteria.
I'm Kimo Kahoano. And let's go back to when we first worked together.
Okay.
Right? That was at KCCN Radio.
Yeah.
And the most beautiful part was the Aloha Friday Luncheon Show. Bro.
Aloha Friday Luncheon Show, the Aloha Morning Show.
Yeah. Aloha Morning Show, number 2 in the market.
Yeah, that's right.
Woo. Not bragging or anything, and the Aloha Friday Luncheon Show, we had guests like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, I know. Beautiful. It was a beautiful era,
Yeah.
if you will.
Well, I mean, I think about all the people who came to the program,
Yeah.
and we're just on, and then here we had this show.
Yeah.
It was so wonderful, brother, and it was just really great. And I'll tell you, one of the moments that people don't know about is Pulani Mossman,
Oh, yeah.
because Pulani's dad started the very first hula show, even before Kodak, and he had it right by where the Marriott is today. So here's Pulani. She becomes his featured dancer.
Yeah.
And then she goes to the Royal, goes to the Lexington Hotel in New York City.
Yeah.
Her husband sees her and takes her into marriage in Florida. And then her son brings her back to Hawaii
Yeah.
to meet us.
Randy Avon. We're talking about
Yeah.
Randy, her son.
Yeah.
Who became a senator, a state senator in Florida.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this long-distance Kanaka connection
Oh.
going on between Hawaii and Florida because he often comes home and we spend time talking story. In fact, with his mom had an award given to her from the Outrigger Hotels,
Right.
and she's part of the Wall of Fame in one of the restaurants over there.
And who'd have thunk it, brother, that here I am doing the Korakula show for 15 years or something like that, and the last 15 years of the show. And then it ends 22 years ago. So what happens? They come and say, hey, Kimo, we want to do this show again, but we're going to call it the Kilohana Hula Show.
Yeah, this is the gang from Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, see, this is a needed.
Julio Lewis, what a talent.
So if we talk in timeline,
Yeah.
yeah, and we talk in Hawaii Calls, and then we're talking Kodak Hula Show,
Right.
right? And we're talking because in those days, if we're looking at these different platforms,
Right.
these different stages. In this particular time, podcast is a current stage by which to operate.
Right. It's a whole different venue, different world,
Yeah.
different audience receiving it.
Yeah. So in those days, Hawaii Calls, when Webley Edwards would say, after the steel guitar,
All that stuff, yeah.
ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
Hawaii Calls is on the air.
Woohoo.
Holy smokies. Can you imagine the people in Nebraska who are listening on the radio
Yeah.
and kind of like they're beginning to drool? We got to go see Paradise one day.
And one time, Pua Almeida does Hawaii Calls
Yeah.
over at the Moana Hotel. And he's doing that whole thing with his band. And you can't help but go, wow, this audience is just expanded to the world. And it really did.
Yeah.
It really did.
And then you fast forward as the radio continues to grow and the mediums continue to grow and you get television too. And then, during the Hawaii Calls days, we're reminiscing, that was the only way by which Hawaii could speak to the world, right?
Right.
And then in the early 60s, that's when, television was what it was and the jet age came into play.
My gosh. How about the Jack McCoy show
Okay.
on KITV? Lucky Luck.
Lucky luck.
And his wonderful expression. I mean, there were so many local entities. And for radio, J. Aku Head Pupule.
Oh, yeah. So on radio, in those particular days, that was where it was at, right? And then television came into play. And then, of course, the megaphone got a little bit louder and visual and stuff. And then in the 60s, like I was mentioning, the jet age was very pivotal in the visitor industry in Hawaii because it started getting people here quicker.
Way quicker.
Yeah, and a lot younger.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when Waikiki was cooking. Co-eds here, co-eds there,
Yeah.
co-eds running around everywhere, right?
And love and surf,
Yeah.
That's why the Beach Boys had a place. They always had a place because everybody loved the idea of surfing. It was such a wonderful way to receive Hawaii. And, we got to talk about Joey Cabell,
Oh, the surfers.
Duke Hanamoku,
Oh, yeah.
Paul Stroud,
Yeah.
Butch Van Artsdale, and all of these guys inspired us during that surfing era.
Steamboat.
Steamboat.
Mokuahi.
Oh, Mokuahi, he was like
The Beach Boys.
the Rock, yeah.
Those were the
Waters.
Beach Boys.
Yeah.
And they control the action on the beach, right?
Yeah.
And but for the most part, it was a lifestyle
Yeah.
that continued right through. In the 60s, you brought on guys, all of the, we're entertainer types, right?
Well, and there was an entertainer with us.
Right.
Who was like Don Ho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don. And Don wasn't from the Waikiki area. He's from Kaneohe.
Yeah.
Honey's.
Honey's.
His mom, Honey's.
His mom's place.
That's where he started playing the music.
Yeah.
And then found his way to Waikiki. And Waikiki was like really a paradise.
Yeah, Kimo Wilder McVeigh and Duke Hanamoku's, right?
That's right.
And then Duke became the ambassador of that place. So, wow. And here's Don bringing in and people, all kinds of people, mainland stars is all great.
You do Don real good.
Well, it's only because, Brick, when I got to talk to Don, the one story he told me was, hey, my teacher told me in Connecticut. I said, you went to school in Connecticut, Don? Yeah, and she said, whatever you do, Don, don't change how you talk, okay?
Ironically, with Don, and then, of course, a little later on, and I'm talking about the greater Waikiki area.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, some of the stars included like Al Harrington.
Yep, Al Harrington.
And Al Harrington, of course, he had his place on Hawaii Five-0, which was another huge show.
But he marketed himself as far as the visitor industry.
Yeah.
So that was really so cool. And Zulu was a part of that.
Zulu was a
5-0
part of
thing.
that. And then, of course, you have the Waikiki area, this side of Diamond Head.
Yeah.
And then you have the other side of Diamond Head, which is the Kahala area,
Right.
which was Danny Kalekini.
Aloha, Kaneokia, Danny Claykini. Thank you, folks. Thank you for coming. Penny Silverwell sang for him. Oh, what a beautiful singer.
Since we're reminiscing,
Yeah.
I was playing music, and we took our group to Japan.
Oh,
Ariga-san.
beautiful.
Ariga. And we went to Tokyo, and we played, and so our band was 4-part harmony. Remember in Waikalani Young, we were singing the 4-part stuff. And so the concert menu was Ke Aloha Kalama, which was, Chalang-a-lang-a-lang.
Right.
And then we had the 4-part harmony with our group. Yeah. And then the headliner was Danny Kalekini.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, Danny was, he was the emperor of Japan.
Yeah, did it all.
For heaven's sakes,
Yeah.
right? He could speak the language and things like that. So we're in Japan. We're having a sound check, in this beautiful Tokyo music hall. And then we're done, and the promoters were generous enough to give each of us, each band, a translator.
Wow.
A translator. So we had at our beck and call someone who knew the language could walk us around, and we knew how to order sushi. Okay, whatever. So we're having the sound check, and Danny is up there on stage. He's having his sound check, and he's singing, whatever song he was singing, and the Tahitian stuff and everything like that. Good, yeah. Then he busts into Filipino. Then he goes into, Korean, and he's speaking all of these languages. And he comes back to the Japanese, and he's just rapping Japanese. And I'm going to a translator, what is Danny saying? She says, I have no idea. He was riffing.
Because he used it all. For his benefit, right?
Yeah.
And he was at the Kahala for 30 years, brother.
I know.
30 years.
Yeah.
What a super talent to be able to be as consistent. And I got to work with him because of Kalani Kakit. So Kalani Kaka was the choreographer. They needed one more guy. He said, "Hey, Kimo, why don't you come work with us?" I said, "Sure." So 10 months, here we are working together. I'm working with Kalani Kaka on all these beautiful dances.
At the Kahala Hilton.
At the Kahala Hilton with Danny Kalikini.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Kapuiki leading the band.
Yeah.
Oh, brother, it was just fantastic. After 10 months, I'm going, man, I better go learn something.
Oh, man.
Really, and that's exactly what hit me. So I left the show and I went to the Royal Hawaiian Hotel with Jack Thompson of Tihatis.
Oh, yeah.
Al Harrington was there, and we became good buddies. The Phil Ingalls Orchestra, the wonderful band that played with Alfred Apaka, all those boys, Benny Kalama and the boys, they were all there. I mean, it was just wow to have all of that production there in one room. It was a good experience because I never regretted, right? And you being a part of so many bands and so many entertainment venues. And let me give you a hint. I'm sitting alone at the Princess Kaiulani Hotel, and singing to me on the piano is your uncle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Richard Kauhi.
Richard Kauhi.
You know, often imitated, never duplicated. Uncle Richard, he was pre-Don Ho.
Yeah.
He was pre-Danny Kalikini.
Yeah. He was like Nat King Cole.
Yeah.
He was so good.
Uncle Richard Kauhi. And for our viewers, just kind of Google this guy or look him up, because he was the first jazz Hawaiian musician.
Yeah.
He really enjoyed his music. He went to Kaimuki High School.
Wow, Kaimuki.
But he dropped out because this is inside game stuff.
Wow.
But from being in elementary school, he went to Punaho's music school. So Van Diamond's mother, Marianne Diamond, was his teacher.
Wow.
Okay, so he comes up through school. He doesn't go to the regular school. He said, forget that. I'd rather just play music.
Wow.
So that was his education right through. And so he was very disciplined in his playing, but he loved jazz. And so he's the one who actually brought 4-part harmony jazz, Hawaiian jazz. Like the guys in his group, Sonny Kamaka, Jimmy Kaku, these names, and he sang 4-part. And then eventually some of these guys who were in his group went on to develop their groups, like the Invitations.
Well, look at you.
Like the Ali'is.
But for the Invitations, the Ali'is, but you also with Imai Kalani Young.
Yeah, really.
I mean, you guys.
That was some sweet stuff.
Awesome harmony.
So hopefully there'll be groups that can carry that tradition on. But 4-part harmony is not easy to sing. You got to learn how to sing it. It's a special style. And you got to stay in your own lane.
Yeah.
It's very disciplined music.
Wow.
But I think that by and large, the music of Hawaii has many different iterations,
right,
if you will, and the way it's been, stylized in many different ways. Like you're talking about Uncle Richard, like down at the Princess K, and then he eventually moved over to Bagwell's and Trappers at the Hyatt.
Yeah.
There are others who can carry that load.
The same wonderful feeling, yeah.
I think just for musicians, generally speaking, one thing I learned from Uncle, he always told me, less is more, okay? Make every emotion count. Even the silence is golden. And if you put silence, then the listener can fill that in with what they think might be appropriate. So he was very, very cognizant of what the listener was about. So instead of being, too busy, he just wanted to be in the pocket.
Right. And it made a difference not only for him, but for you in your wonderful career, right? And how you applied it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think, okay, so since we're talking story, and there's so many great stories about Waikiki, I want to share one.
Good.
Okay, so I was a tour director in Waikiki, and we used to always go see Don Ho. And And then, of course, we'll go see Danny. And we're coming back to these men, right? Who were pretty much the stars. Because we were I certainly was a downhill wannabe.
Yeah, and they were so consistent.
So consistent every night. I mean, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
You could always depend. Their work ethic. I think that's what I learned a lot about Don, Danny, Al, was their work ethic.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter what, you got to be there.
And do it.
Like Al Harrington as an example.
Yeah.
He was a school teacher at Punahou.
Right.
Right? Very learned man. Decides he wants to go into showbiz. And he is actually the guy who woke up early every day and went to the early
briefings.
The early briefings.
Yeah. He went there and he made an impression.
Now, briefings being, for the viewing audience, a briefing is where you take your visitors to go and get briefed about all of the different things that they can take in.
Yeah, optional tours.
Optional tours, right.
Right.
You know, go around the island.
Right.
Go to Polynesian Cultural Center or whatever.
And then all they do is they go there and pay right at the end of the briefing to make sure that they are going to go and enjoy. And they were good.
One of Al's best kept secrets was that he was, well, not to us, but he was the closer for the briefing. You know, we went up there, we sold everything, but he came in at the end, and then he did this heartfelt aloha to the veterans of the room.
Yep.
And then he said, now this is where you want to try and be.
Yeah.
Of course, come to my show.
Yeah.
Right? But he would close the deal.
Yeah. And he always left it with aloha because he said, you know, if you can't make it, it's okay. Just enjoy our islands and our Hawaii because it's a special place for each and every one of you. And I only know that because for 3 years, I got to work with him, and sometimes he couldn't make the briefings. Yeah. Why? Because he was not only teaching, he was coaching at Punahou. So he'll go, oh, Kimo, I need you to do one briefing in the morning over at International Marketplace. I said, oh, okay. So here I am walking into it innocently, but understanding after a while, hey, this made a difference.
You know, speaking of the International Marketplace, let's go there for a little while. Okay.
Yeah.
And let's talk. And
man.
You can speak with authority in this area because, especially if we were to, move to the radio part of our lives, and you had the treehouse.
Right. Exactly.
The treehouse was a place that was a radio station, right?
Yeah, J. Aku had Pupule.
And Lucky Luck.
Before him, and I mean, how many guys was really amazing. But the big significant moment had to be when it crashed. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
One of our buddies, Victor Opio,
right,
fell down the stairs. Yeah. And so it was Aku who said, hey, crash ke aloha.
Yeah, right. Because he was headed on up to learn radio from Lucky Luck. So this was his first gig, or his first day of the first gig.
Yeah.
And he falls down the steps.
Yeah.
And there's crash ke aloha.
Crash ke aloha.
And it's stuck.
Wow.
Yeah.
And all these entities that gave us this wonderful inspiration to move on and to grow. Now you think about that today, right? And where do they get it from? Hey, you got to just keep looking and feel what you feel in broadcast. Oh, it's a podcast. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Hello.
There's certain things that are themes throughout all of these guys that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Things that are common denominators, if you will, and because it takes a little bit to get up in front of people.
Yeah.
And, move them. But I think the common denominator, and the definition is totally subjective, but aloha is a common denominator.
Oh, yeah.
Of everybody. Now, what that means to you and me, I certainly, when you can feel it, right?
Yeah, and it's still today, it hasn't gone away. It's still important. It's still something that we can share freely. Why? Because people come from all over the world and they think they know that word, but we give them what it really means, what it feels like. And that's the extra. So we'd like to share that with you, yeah? Our aloha.
But I think, you know,
You gotta go on a musical note.
you got to go out on a musical note. So go ahead.
Yeah.
What do you want to do, brother?
Oh, I just think whatever you play is good feeling. And then if we can add, ooh,
Oh, yeah. Aloha is a word. You know that song that they used to do? That you gotta feel aloha.
Yeah, you gotta feel aloha. Yeah,
Aloha.
aloha makes us all together.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, why don't you go ahead? Keep talking, and I'm going to find the word. That's
Okay,
why-
okay, cool.
Digital literacy.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
go ahead.
this brings us back to today. But the surfers actually recorded it. You got to feel aloha. And, you know, it played very well. They did it at their shows, Canton Puka in Waikiki in the marketplace and other places, Imperial Hotel, I think. But, you know, Alan and Clayton Nalawai and the boys just gave it a wonderful feeling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aloha is a word that has so many meanings, like
Saying hello and goodbye. It means how are you, and I miss you so, and I hope you're feeling all right.
But most of all, it's a feeling from within that makes you feel so good inside. 'Cause aloha means with all my love, all my love. You gotta feel aloha. Aloha brings us all together.
Sing aloha if you're looking for fun and pleasure. Share aloha. Reach out and lend a helping hand. You gotta feel aloha. Aloha, the heartbeat of this land. Whoo, baby. Woo-hoo. Break time.
Break
we'll be back.
time.
Oh, hey.
You know, I want to thank everybody for sending in questions, talk story, as we make our way through this Hawaii Recalls experience.
Yeah.
So there was this one. There was a question on this about the Zawayan genre,
Yeah.
because we were right in the middle of it. In fact, we're at the beginning of it.
We're on the radio.
Yeah, we're on the radio. So as I recall, and this came from we're celebrating my son Sean's 48th birthday. You know, Shawnee,
Johnny boy, the best.
we don't like to, we don't refer to Sean as, you know, having a disability. We say Sean has a different ability.
Yeah.
Down syndrome is a special blessing
Yeah.
for our family and for whoever family.
And his heart, his spirit,
Yeah,
brother, wow.
that's a walking aloha guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're celebrating his birthday, the 48th birthday, at Kanika Pila Grill. And some guys who are, they're Hawaiian performers in today, like guys from the Green.
Sure.
Well, one of their
yeah.
members had come to the party. He came to the party.
Wow.
And then this group called the Commons Kings were staying in the house because they were going to be in concert. And they recognized each other and we ended up on the same table. And they said, "Oh, hey, unks. Hey, unks. I wanted to ask you, how did you guys start the Hawaiian genre
Yeah.
back in the day?" Because, you know, it started, the melding of the reggae and the Hawaiian started back a ways. I mean,
Yeah.
if you remember Butch Helemano,
Yep.
this was prior to Nolan guys
Yeah.
and Walter guys, but then it came up and became more refined. But in answer to the question, how do we raise the Hawaiian genre? I said it was very, very simple. We were all sitting at a table one time, and including Andy Sexton from Simplicity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the scene, the Hawaiian music scene was not quite flat, but it needed something.
Yeah, and there were other places to go. Like we talked about jazz, right? We talked about the influence of other forms of music. So there was definitely this impactful feeling that wasn't in the music yet.
Yeah, it wasn't in the music yet. And then there was that melding of that sound, right?
Beautiful.
That took it to the next level.
Yep.
But there wasn't anything that we could that could reference that sound, right? So I recall vividly, we were sitting at the table one day, and then somebody pipes up, I think it was Sexton, he says, Zawayan. I said, Zawayan, what is that, Zawayan? And I told these guys, the Common Kings, the Green guys, I said, it has nothing to do with Ja, which is the reference to the Jamaican music, which is the reggae.
Right.
But Zawayan is simply jam in Hawaiians in our vernacular.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we finally got a label for this genre, and then we're able to stamp it
huge.
And then you know what, we lost control of it for about 10 years.
Oh man.
It just started to blossom.
And that's what has to happen, right? In any musical venue, you've got to take it to a level that impacts the audience.
Oh, yeah.
And that audience is younger. They're looking for something different, something more impactful, something powerful. They got it.
They got it. You know what? And you talk about memories, Hawaiian memories. There's nothing like having an entire 10,000, seat, like the shell, filled to the rim, the rim, and people going off. With the.
Are you talking about tomorrow night?
I'm talking. Whoever's closing the concert is like jamming, Hawaiian.
Oh,
whenever
man.
You remember the birthday bashes we used to have?
Oh man, and I look at Capena and all of that growing that they did, and then Josh Totofi comes out of the one of the brothers, right? And so all of this stuff just impacts, and they find their own way of creativity to make it work for them. And that's what we do, right? We got to make it work for us.
Capena started in high school. Okay, I recall
Kaimuki.
I recall that because we were doing concerts, Dave Owong and I, Dave Brickwood Productions. We were doing these beach concert series. And when we went around the island, Tumbaland out there, that's when Walter was playing for Walter Pulani, brother Walter. We went up north. Nolan jumped on board, and we finished off the series of concerts at the Kapilani Park Bandstand. And the headliner was Loyal. And there was a new group that we introduced to the scene named Capena.
Oh, baby.
And they were still in high school. But they rocked the house.
They did.
They rocked the house. And look at them today. You talk about, multi-generational.
Yeah.
I mean, the dilemma, I can't say kids anymore because they're married and have their own families.
Yeah.
But they're really, really exquisite musicians, like Tatofi guys too.
Yeah.
And they come from good DNA, right?
Good DNA.
Good DNA.
And not afraid, right? They're not afraid. And their parents, were enthusiastic for them. So, hey, how can you lose when you have that?
Yeah.
You have that support.
Let's address some of these.
Oh yeah,
these questions. Like.
What do you got?
Well, let's start with Waikiki. Let's go back to Waikiki.
Waikiki.
Since we
not hard.
Have you seen Waikiki change over the years, both in terms of tourism and local culture? Well, what do you think?
I think it changes because of the retail marketing of entertainment, along with the wonderful sale of different items that belong to Hawaii and belong to the international scene. So has it changed? Yeah, it's got to change. If it doesn't change, you end up out of it.
Yeah. The hybrid of the tourist experience has changed over the years, right? I mean, you had coconut bra, raffia skirts, that era, if you will.
Man.
And that was a wonderful era too. Yeah. And then there was a definite intentional shift towards culture, native Hawaiian culture in the experience.
Yeah.
Because there was a time when you couldn't differentiate Polynesian culture from native Hawaiian culture. I mean, everything was kind of in the same, say you go to a luau show.
Right.
And you see all the different cultures. So kind of hard to say, one's different from the other. It's all Polynesian, if you will.
Right.
But there was a definite intentional shift to Hawaiian culture being a part of the visitor continuum,
Yeah.
And that's, that was like for instance, taking the visitor to the lo'i and having them go into the taro patch and go and have some stuff that's about
actually experience it.
Experience it. Yeah, go pick limo and stuff like that, right?
Oh.
Yeah. But anyway, so there has been a transformation, if you will, towards a little bit more of a cultural grounding.
Yeah, and I don't think that it hurts Waikiki at all, because Waikiki has to go through these changes. But to me, brother, the most significant thing about Waikiki is that beautiful setting. And the fact is that when we have rain showers, we have rainbows. When we have sunshine, it's there for everybody to enjoy. So Waikiki is just an area, even though other places might be raining or might be storming, it still is able to maintain some wonderful perspective for our visitors. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And a great surf break, too. And it's easy for visitors, to learn how to surf Waikiki.
Yeah. Oh.
That's another experience, too.
Oh, yeah.
Waikiki is to me, Waikiki is just one part of the visitor experience, though.
Yeah.
You go to the other side of the island, you get all kinds beautiful. I mean, look at the windward side, the ko'olaus. I mean, that's extraordinary, right?
Yeah. And we got to mention Laie because of the wonderful positive reception of our cousins from throughout the Pacific there, and how people are.
Oh, the Polynesian Cultural Center.
Yeah, they're just people are able to enjoy and to see different facets of our history is, hey, it's cool. It's good.
Yeah, very good. As we talk about the Waikiki experience, I think that what is not lacking, but I think we need to acknowledge the ground game. Okay? Because a visitor experience does not happen unless you have the people who are actually working the ground.
Brother.
Okay? And I'm talking about, say, the housekeepers.
Yes.
And because this is a thank you to everybody who makes it a part of their lives on a daily basis.
Yeah.
They go to work. They're hardworking people who work in the number one industry in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And the gardeners, right? The guys who clean the pools, right? The guys who work the beach, like we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And these are the people that our visitors see. That and they're not going to a show.
Right.
They're like the people that they meet who live in Hawaii who say, "Good morning.
Yeah.
How's you guys get towels? You guys get enough towels or whatever?"
And they're working hard.
No.
They are working hard all the time. And then I see them. Okay, they leave the hotel, they go home. Some of them catch the bus. Some of them have their own cars and stuff like that. But a lot of it is, hey, we got to get it done. We got to go home. We got to rest. We got to come back tomorrow early in the morning. So what they fulfill for the visitor industry, you're absolutely right.
Oh, yeah.
Brother.
That's lifeblood for the industry.
Yeah.
So we thank them and everything they do, and going home late at night and coming back early in the morning. I mean, this is not easy work.
Yeah. And speaking of that, some thoughts just from your own heart, your own person, being a part of Waikiki, the visitor industry, and so much more, and working for the people of Hawaii. What would you like to share?
Service is what I'm about, right? And it's being able to just express a sense of gratitude for those who have decided to take their hard-earned money from wherever they come from, Oshkosh, Wisconsin, or Des Moines, or whatever, and to say, I'm going to go and I'm going to visit this place that is supposedly paradise. Now, what makes it paradise? The people who live here in Hawaii make it paradise. So I think we can be grateful that we're part of that family of Aloha, and we're able to share that. So I come to our viewers with gratitude for even watching us talk story and remember and recall our Hawaii.
As we continue to help our community, which you do so very well, brother. For me, it's being able to converse and talk story and share with people all over the world. It is really cool. And brother, it's tears of joy that we can share, that the sacrifices we made for our families, for Hawaii, and the fact that not everything's perfect, but the one thing that is perfect is that we will never be less than what we deserve to be. We've been given that right. We've been given that freedom. And brother, with Hawaii and with Aloha and with our heritage, from the great days of our kingdom to today to our future.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, bro.
Beautifully said, man.
Beautiful.
So here's the deal. We're here.
Yeah.
We're recalling. We invite you to join us wherever we are, however we show up, because we showed up.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the deal. We'll see you when we see you.
Yeah.
Okay, brother, mahalo.
Ahui ho.
Aloha.